All right. Hello, everybody. Today, I have a special guest with us, and I'm so excited to have this conversation. I would like you guys all to meet one of my bestie girls, okay? Payton, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Is there anything you would like to say to start us off? Maybe introduce yourself a little bit.
What's up, guys? I'm Payton. 26 years old. You can call me Payton, but don't call me broke.
No broke bitches here, babe.
Nope.
Anyways, so obviously, like, I've had the luxury of knowing you for 10 plus years.
That's crazy. 10 years.
I know.
Wow, because it is 2026.
I know, because when did we...
Probably like 2016, 2017.
Yeah, because we were in Ramparts.
Ramparts! Where it all started.
Which was like our little newspaper for our high school.
That
okay.
Sucked.
It
sucked.
We have a bunch of stories that we probably won't get into today about that, but
Another time.
it was just funny because, you know, it just ended up being one of those things where you were a grade below me.
Yep.
But you were also involved in volleyball, so it was just kind of naturally, it just naturally fit that we were like...
We weren't really close in volleyball either, but like we weren't like not close either.
No.
But it wasn't until we were in newspaper together that it was like, hey,
Wait a minute, I gotta fuck
fuck
with you.
each other.
And I will never forget my mom for not letting me go to that fucking Chance concert.
Oh my God,
that
yeah,
you invited
seriously.
me to. I was so fucking mad. Anyway.
Dang, that would have been so fun.
I know. Fuck. But anyways, it was so weird kind of how our friendship like grew after that because I ended up going to college, you know, I'm being Miss College Girl. And I was playing volleyball at the time and my coach comes up to me and she's like, hey, do you know anybody who would be willing to play middle? Because I just need a middle. And I'm like, I literally know one person who's going to Western and like, maybe.
Like, and what are the chances?
I
too?
know.
Like it was for like, looking back on it, it was so meant to be. Like,
It was.
The cards were just played perfectly.
Because that's when we really,
yeah.
It wasn't until Valley that we were like...
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking, this is my best friend.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of background, okay? I kind of wanted to talk about you today. I wanted to get into it.
If we must.
If we must, shit.
I love talking about myself.
So, obviously, growing up, we kind of had, like, similar upbringings, and I just kind of wanted to, like, get into that a little bit. Can you talk to me about, like, maybe your experience growing up and just, you know, being the younger sister of 3, but also having both parents in the entertainment industry? Because both of your parents are, like, local celebrities.
Yeah, local legends, some might say. I say they're local assholes.
So can you just kind of talk to me a little bit about your upbringing, like what that was like for you?
Yeah, it's really interesting, actually, especially being, I'm significantly the youngest in my family. My parents are boomers and then 2 millennial sisters. So we're all very, very different and all grew up in very different times, which I think plays a lot into our family dynamic. Just because we all come from such different eras that we're kind of a melting pot. And me and my sisters our ages are so far apart that we got a chance to be so different from each other. And so growing up, it was always really interesting because I feel like I lived a childhood that was a perfect blend of my sisters. Because, you know, I saw how both of them acted. So like I kind of took character traits from them both, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
So I feel like I'm like a melting pot of everyone in my family. And growing up too with my parents, you know, in the media, it was really hard in the elementary years, and then after that it was pretty normal. But I remember in elementary years, like kids would come up to me and be like, dude, you're wearing mismatched socks. I'm like, yeah, like who gives a fuck? Like they're just socks. Like,
Right.
you can barely see them out of my sneakers. And they would say, oh, well, your parents are famous. Shouldn't you be rich? Shouldn't you have
No
better
shot.
shoes? Shouldn't you have better clothes? Like, and it's so funny because people always have made assumptions that my parents are, like, loaded. But, like, they're just local anchors, right?
Right.
Like, cool, yeah, it's kind of lavish. It was way more cool back in the day, but no one really cares about that anymore. So there was always just like people just assumed. It was a lot of assuming, and then it wasn't until, you know, I made friends, and then they'd come over to my house and realize, like, oh, this is just a really normal family. And then people always ask me, like, what's it like having a news anchor dad? And it's all I've ever known. Since I was in the womb, I was listening to him on TV. So it's like, it's really normal to me. But I think, speaking for me and my sisters, growing up with our parents in the public eye has shaped the way that we act in public settings. Because in the back of our minds, we know that our face is attached to their name.
Yeah,
so we have to be cautious about the way we present ourselves and what we post. Like I have no desire to do this, but like I could never start an OnlyFans. Like, you know, like shit like that. Like, because then it comes back to my parents. So even still now in my adult life, like every decision we make, we have to think about them and how it could impact them.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't imagine like kind of being in that limelight and feeling like almost like that pressure to be a certain way, and you're just a kid and you're like, well, what the fuck? I'm just being a kid wearing different colored socks.
Yeah. But then I'm getting all this pressure from 7-year-olds
right,
like to be rolling up to school in a limo.
I know.
And I was kind of being the youngest too, my parents were and I was an accident baby too, so again, significantly younger than everyone. My parents just, I don't want to say that they didn't care, but it was just more of like hands-off parenting. Like, just my sisters have me too, like my sisters also helped raise me. So like they let me dress myself and stuff, and they shouldn't have. So that's why, you know, a lot of people were assuming like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl? Like, why is she dressing like this? But I was also just a kid. Like, I don't know, but I think it also taught me at a young age, like, people perceive and make assumptions. So you have to lead your life in a way like preparing for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I feel like I can relate to you in some ways and just how we grew up, because you are one of my only friends, I feel like, who still has their parents together in a happily like marriage and being able to grow up around them and like around your siblings. Like, we can definitely relate to that kind of environment. And I also think, you know, my parents, we have really good relationships with our parents now too. Like, it's not like we're not talking to them, or, you know, like we're very family oriented people. And so I guess I kind of just have a question around that. Like, do you think the way you were raised too, and like how you grew up, how has that affected you today? Like, how does it contribute to who you are today?
I mean, in so many ways. I mean, especially with my relationship with my parents and them being boomers, you know, they're exactly 40 years older than me, so we have a very large gap compared to other people. I mean, they taught me a lot of how to respect and love other people, if that makes sense, because they have so much respect and love for each other. Like, my parents never talk bad about each other. They're always hyping each other up when one of them's not in the room.
Right.
And they always go out of their way to brighten someone's day. Like, if our neighbor had someone pass in their family, well, my dad's making a cake and bringing it next door.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that the most important thing they taught me is just genuine kindness and just being yourself. Because as long as you're yourself, everything's always going to work out. It might be a little rocky in between, but, like, if you treat people with kindness, it'll find its way back to you. If you give people love, it's going to find its way back to you.
Yeah.
And, you know, my parents have been together for, God, almost 40 years now.
Wow.
And it's just like that. It's just not giving up on the person you love and other people in your life too. You have to be able to give grace when people make mistakes, because it's all our first time living, right? Like, no one knows how to do it perfectly. If only we could. But they really just opened my eyes to their generation as well, and what it was like growing up for them, which I carry a lot with me to this day. And, you know, this changing society of like they gave me really good roots.
Yeah.
And
like
they
grounded.
ground me a lot.
I would say the same thing about my parents too. And I think it's so interesting, like being an adult now and being able to have a relationship with your parents as an adult, because I feel like I can finally see them now,
Yes.
you know, for who they are, because there's this moment when you're growing up and you just, all you see them are as like your parents and your caretakers. Whereas now it's like, now that I'm grown, I'm paying my own bills, I'm, you know, I can have a relationship with them outside of that security.
Yeah, and it's not like I have a relationship because I need you to drive me to practice. Or I need you to feed me dinner.
Right.
But with all that off the table, all the love is still the same.
Exactly.
And it's crazy to think about, like you said, like you're honestly one of my only friends too with you, a non-broken home.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to think about how many people don't have what we have.
Yes.
And
it breaks my heart, honestly.
I know, but it reminds me a lot to slow down, to call my parents, to go over there and hang out, because not everyone can do that.
Yes, exactly right. And I do take that very seriously too. And but I think that's also one of the reasons like why our relationship is the way that it is, because I feel like we are very much the type of people that are open to meeting new people and new experiences and holding space for people in a way that like maybe other people don't know how to do, just because of how we were raised, kind of like what you were saying, like your parents taught you what love was, you know, you feel like when you put that love out there, you know it's going to come back to you because of how you were raised and the things that you were exposed to. And I could definitely feel like I can relate to that, and why like I feel like our friendship has blossomed, because you were somebody for me who always made it feel like okay to be myself. Too.
Because we had, like, if we're talking about like when we were in college, like we really, while our friends were great, we couldn't relate to them. And sometimes it made us feel, I'm speaking for the both of us here, I think it made us feel on the outs to have that privilege. And it made us feel guilty to have the privilege of a family and a good structure at home.
Absolutely.
And I think that's also why me and you are able to take big creative leaps, because home is always there. But like our other friends didn't have that same privilege of being able to leap, because it was a leap, like
a huge leap.
Like this is it.
Bitch, if you fall, you fall.
Exactly.
but if
we
with
have
us,
a home
that
to fall
support,
back.
that support for sure. So I just wanted to dive into that a little bit. But like moving on to like the person who you are, you know, I feel like I said, I'm just going back to how long I've known you, and I've seen your growth, and I've seen like who you've become, and that's really cool as a friend to like be able to have a friend for so long that you can like see them kind of like change through the seasons
and look
like,
back and be like, wow, we were fucking stupid.
We were so fucking stupid, bro. Like, bro, we could probably have a whole episode about the crazy ass shit that we did, and like. Bro, I don't know if anybody would care, but it was sometimes.
There were some times that we had.
Sometimes. And I don't know, it's really cool to see, like, you know, who you've become today, because you've always been somebody who's, like, inspired me to just go after what I want and what I want to do in my life. And, you know, I know there was a moment there for you when you were like, what the fuck am I doing? What do I do with life? So I don't know if you can if you feel comfortable kind of talking about that transition, like from college into where you are today.
I first want to say, I think it's such a blessing, like our friendship, for example. It's so nice to have someone that you've known for so long, because you have seen every version of myself.
Exactly.
All the good ones, all the bad ones, all the in-between ones. And I feel like having that friendship too, like when I make decisions today and do things in my life, like you just know so much of me that you're able to put the pieces together and understand
why those decisions were made.
Exactly. But like I would say in my early 20s, it was just really hard. Especially with our friend group, we were friends with very driven people, and they were very driven and hardworking at a really young age. Like they were 20 years old, ready to take on the world. I was 20 years old, looking for the next beer. Like I'm like, I want to party. I'm still young. But then I think it was like 21, 22. It was kind of like the wake up call of like, okay, life's really going to have to start kicking in soon. And it's just so hard at that age and being in a different setting, right? Like living in a different city away from your family. Like I got a chance to almost make a new identity for myself.
Yeah.
And I did that and I didn't like it. I didn't like the identity that I created. I didn't like who I became. Yeah. But, it was, I wouldn't change it for the world because I'm glad that I became that bad version of myself because now I know.
And when you say bad, can you help me understand? Like
I don't know, just dumb decisions and unmotivated and
sure.
I feel like now I live my life a lot more carefree, go with the flow. And that's what I was trying to do at that age.
Sure.
But I wasn't doing it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was too go with the flow, too carefree. Like I needed
thinking
structure.
And you weren't thinking about what is my life going to look like in 10.
I was
and
not
to some extent, like you said, it is okay to kind of like, be in this present moment and just enjoy the life
absolutely
in front of us.
Yeah.
But at some point,
you have to wake up.
Yeah, when do you start, thinking about, okay, what does stability look like?
Yeah.
And is that something that I want in my life?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's not. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
But
we can go
I could not do it. I know there are some people who are like, yeah, fuck it, let's just go to the next fucking country.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I can't.
My anxiety is too much.
I know. Anyway, sorry.
But I also too at that age, I feel like I was trying, just experimenting in friendships and relationships with my style, the way I look, and
it is such an experimental age.
It is. Yeah. It really is, and I think that it's always so funny too, because I look back and I'm like, there's some people that know me as like 21-year-old Payton.
Yeah.
And it's not
who you are
slightest of who I am today.
Yeah.
And I think I have a bad taste in my mouth when I think about that. And it's just like, God, some people's memories and perception of me is so wrong.
Yeah.
Because I've changed so much.
Right.
But I don't know. There's a lot of growing pains. For sure, in your 20s, and awkwardness. And,
oh my God, so much awkwardness.
And it still is.
I know, and I remember going through that time. Just so you guys know, I left our college, so in the middle of junior year, basically, I went off and I pursued my path, my dreams. So we had a distance in our friendship at that point. So I think we both kind of we're figuring ourselves out in these new environments and with these different people around. And,
absolutely.
Like you said, we were getting to that age. Like, I know for me, like, during, I don't know, when I was 21, 22, reaching that threshold, I definitely, like, was questioning myself and, like, who I wanted to be and, like, why I was doing some of the things that I was doing. And something that I've talked about on here, on this show, is my unhealthy relationship to alcohol because of college.
Same.
And I think we both kind of have experienced that because it was during that time where I did get out of college and I was like, wait a minute, I can't drink like how I was drinking in college. Like, it brought me so much anxiety. It turned me down this whole dark fucking path, and I had to figure it out for myself. Yeah. I was like, oh my God. I mean, that time is so challenging because you're like...
You're given so much freedom and free will.
Yeah.
And that was my college experience was, holy fuck, I have free will. I can skip class. They're not going to call my parents.
Yeah.
Like, I can just do whatever. And that just ended into just a rolling ball of turmoil.
Right.
Like, I'm just digging my own grave at that point. But, for those experiences, I now know... not to do X,
get
Y,
to
and
that
Z,
point.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is true. So what made you what flipped that switch for you to like start prioritizing other things?
I think when I moved back home, I left Kalamazoo, moved back home, and then was in a long distance relationship with my ex-boyfriend at the time, and left all these friends. So then it was just, just me and then my boyfriend who lives in a different state. And then all I was doing at that time was putting all my eggs into his basket. Like, okay, I only care about my boyfriend. That's the only person I have, blah, 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 blah. And then it wasn't until that we finally broke up where it was like, oh my God, like I've just been letting that relationship navigate my future for no reason.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know why, like, and I hadn't really been in a relationship like that before. So I was also navigating like how to be a partner and how to have a partner. But I think being alone and feeling like I was at rock bottom, which definitely was not rock bottom, but I needed to feel like I was.
Yeah.
That it was like, okay, something's got to change. I need to do something. Something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
to invest in me.
Yeah.
To make me feel like
worth it.
Yeah.
And the jobs I was working at the time, so I had dropped out of school and just working random jobs, and it was just not fulfilling, and I just couldn't figure out what was for me.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of like the really hard, awkward part about your early 20s too, is when you see everybody else like, I'm going to school for this, and then this is the job I'm going to get.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing this, and then it's going to lead me to this. And I was like, again, okay, are we going to crack a beer? Like, that's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Genuinely. Like, I couldn't think that far ahead. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything professional. And then it was on a whim. I was like, I need to figure something out. Am I going to go back to school with a new plan? What am I going to do? And randomly I was like, it'd be fun to go to hair school like my oldest sister, get into cosmetology. And I was like, but I don't want to do the same thing as her. And then I was like, there's also a barber school. Like, I don't know. I've always been a little more tomboyish. So what if I just gave that a try? And I just put all my eggs into that basket and said, fuck it. I'm going to complete this. It's not like it's 4 years worth of school. It's just a year. I know that I can do something for a whole year. If I don't like it, I don't have to pursue it afterwards. Yeah. And
just
then
to try something.
Just to try it. And I remember when I finally did it, finally went to barber school in that first month, it was like, this is what it feels like for everything to click. And people always ask me like, oh, how did you come into this? It was like, I don't know. I just had to do something with my life. And that was my idea. And then when I pursued it, it was like, wow, this was my destiny. This is actually like what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
And so I think all those negative experiences of being go with the flow and just so carefree helped me be carefree and go with the flow today, but with a little bit more of a purpose.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that.
Like, I can still be free and do what I want, but I still have a small goal that I'm trying to achieve, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's, again, like you said, it's just really hard to, like, know what that right move is at that age. But it's like, if you don't try something, you're never going to know.
You have to do something uncomfortable.
Yeah, to get you into a space to be like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
okay.
I like this.
Yeah.
But I would have never known if I didn't try. And if I didn't like it, then so be it. I would have moved on to the next thing.
Right.
And at that point in my life, it was just trial and error. But luckily, one of the first things I tried, it stuck.
Yeah.
So through it all, it's just always really important to have friends like us, like someone who can see you at all these vulnerable stages and be able to understand you. Yeah,
because I think there was a time, too, where, I mean, I know for me that I was, like, worried about where you were gonna go to, and in the back of my mind, I don't think I ever really was like, oh my God, I'm worried about you. What's going on?
I think we all knew I was gonna be okay.
Yeah,
but there was just a no direction at one point, and I couldn't find which direction I needed to go. Yeah, and then everyone's like, well, you should go this way and do this. Well, then you should go this way and do this, and then it makes me go in my hole more. Like when people tell me, because what I should do.
You almost have to figure it out on yourself to really feel like this was only my decision. Yeah. This is for me, and nobody else had any influence over it. Because, that's the same thing with my brother. He just started this new job, and none of us, none of my family had anything to do with helping him get this job. He sought this out on his own. Yeah. And when you do that on your own, when you seek out those opportunities on your own, it almost gives you a better sense of yourself.
Yes. Because you feel accomplished.
Yes.
I did this alone.
Yeah.
So I can do other things.
Alone.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important, because I think sometimes we get caught up in and I think maybe this is true just based on how we grew up with so much support. Yeah. We can get caught up on just wanting to feel supported all the time, that we sometimes are neglectful of asking ourselves, what is it that I need and what I want, instead of listening to all of those outside voices that try to tell us this is how it should be,
Absolutely.
or this is the way that you do things, you know? So it's just kind of like learning how to break that a little bit. And like you said, step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Figure it the fuck out.
It's so annoying because I'm such a hands-on learner too. That,
Yeah.
Like, that's why I have to do fucked up things, like things that fuck myself over.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I'm gonna learn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. And speaking of like barbering, you know, I remember when you were going through this school, because I think at that time that's when I had moved back, right?
Yes.
So, and I think me moving back too has also, again, just emphasized our friendship a lot more.
Yeah.
But, you know, watching you go through that program, I think was really, really impactful for me, because I knew you were going to do great things.
Yeah.
You're just you are a very independent person.
Yeah.
And you are able to create connections with people on your own that I think to the outside eye is very envious for some people. Like, because you are just so comfortable in spaces where other people might be uncomfortable,
Absolutely.
I guess. And so I remember walking into your barbershop and, well, I guess it was the barber school at that point, but I'm like, I'm gonna go get my hair done, you know, whatever. Because don't be fooled, bitches. She can still cut women's hair, okay? Like,
but don't book with me.
She can do a mad fade, but she can also...
I can also do a curtain bang.
Anyways, so I remember going in there and just the rapport that you had, like, with all of your other barber friends in there was really, really cool and comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you have, again, you said, you know, you mentioned, I'm a bit of a tomboy.
Yeah. One of the bros.
Which is so true, and I love that because I think we're very similar. Like, I don't think of you as my sister, I think of you as my brother.
We're brothers.
You know what I mean? And, like, so I guess, I'm trying to figure out a way to ask this question because it's something that I've just been thinking about as I know you to be who you are. What is it that makes it maybe a little bit more comfortable for you to kind of develop those relationships and friendships with men? Because I feel like you have more friendships with men. I'm not saying that that's I don't want to make it sound you know, but can you talk about that maybe a little bit?
I feel like a lot of it stems, let me say this. I am not vain, but I'm also very vain at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't give a fuck about how I look, but, like, I do, right? Like, I guess when I say I'm vain, it's like, I have a way that I want to be, to appear. Okay?
Yes.
But, like, when it comes to other people perceiving me and who I am, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe that's why sometimes I do find myself in more male relationships than female relationships, because of that not being vain in that way.
Yeah,
like,
and there's
more vulnerability.
There's a sense of like a carefreeness.
Yes.
You know, like I don't have to like, because I have relationships with women and I have relationships with men. But I think sometimes when it comes to women, we have always kind of been, women have this like, how do I one up you, or like we're always in competition with each other,
and that was a lot of
as
my
friends.
Female friendships growing up at a young age.
Absolutely.
I remember some of my closest friends, like, you know, if I got something that was similar to them, well, then they're mad. And it's like, no, I'm doing it out of flattery. Like, I love that you wore that top, so I wanted to get one similar. But then it's a competition.
Right, and exactly right.
And I think too, like, with women, sometimes I feel an expectation to present myself in a certain way because I want to impress them. And a lot of times people are like, oh, like, women always do this for men. It's like, no, everything I do is, like, for women. Because I want to impress women. I don't give a fuck about impressing a man. But, like, a girl, like, I just feel there's just a different standard.
There is.
And I'm always very self-conscious about meeting that standard. But I feel like because me being tall too, like, I'm already singled out.
Sure.
I'm so much different than the rest.
Yeah.
And I think my height too gives me that bro-ness that makes a man maybe feel more comfortable. Because it's not like, oh, he's not talking to, like, some, you know, short, dainty little blonde. You know, it's like, I got a deep voice, man. Like, I'm taller than you. Like, you know, it's almost like I have a sense of authority sometimes.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think all in all, something that I live by is just not wearing a mask. Like, I
Yeah.
will always be myself first, and if someone doesn't like me, that's fine. I'd rather them not like me than pretend.
Yeah.
I want people to not like me, because then that means I'm fucking human.
Well, right. And I think back to what you were saying about, like, with women sometimes, we already go in sometimes meeting other women with this preconceived idea
Yeah.
of, like, who they are and who we think that they're gonna think we are. You know, so I think there's already this, like, I don't know, wall that's kind of, like, up that we don't always present ourselves fully sometimes in front of women. I don't know. I find myself doing that.
Yeah.
I do it with men too. So I'm not saying, you know, not just singling out women.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I think that's what I've learned from you is, like, just to be a lot more careless and not give a fuck because it's just, you know.
Yeah.
But back to this, like, relationship with men. So can you talk about maybe, like, your experience in the barber shop or in the barber school?
Oh, God.
And and kind of how, I don't know, how that's kind of grown into you having your own shop today and maybe talk about that a little bit.
It's really funny. So I remember we all were sitting in the classroom at barber school, and our instructor was just talking to us about, like, the future and what kind of options there are, like all the different type of shops you can go to, commission, chair rent, or owning your own spot, like all just literally just going through all the possible options. And then, you know, he wanted to hear what our dream was, what our end goal was after graduation. And I remember every guy in my class being like, I want to own my own shop. I want to own my own shop, do this. And everything was just so independent, like boss status. And I was like, I don't really feel like that. Like, I don't know. I found a hobby in cutting hair, and I just want to go and do that. Yeah. And so then I did. You know, I had a shop offer me to come and rent a chair, so I did that, and I worked with 4 other men, and it was really fun. The barbershop camaraderie is a blast. In barber school and in the shop. But as I got more into my career, and I should say that in barber school, I was really safe. I was with a very safe group of men. And a lot of men that saw me as a sister, and they loved me, and they would be assholes to me and say some dumb shit, and I would say it back. Like, we just formed, like, I felt protected.
Was there ever, like, a moment of hesitancy when you stepped into the barbershop? Because obviously you know you're going to be, you know, surrounded by men, a woman in a male-dominated field. So, like, what was that like? It
was a lot different because now I have coworkers, people who don't know me. Now I have to get to know them, and, you know, likewise. And also, too, not only am I learning my coworkers, but I have all these new clients and people who have no idea who I am. And it was just so different because at barber school, if I had a shitty client, I had all my dudes to back me up.
Right.
But it wasn't like that when I was at my shop. It was very individual. Okay, like, you know, if someone's being a dick and misogynistic towards me, I have to handle that. I don't have an army of, you know, my best friends to come and help me handle that.
Yeah.
And working in Grand Ledge was very unique because just they're a different vibe there, and they live by their own rules and ideology. And it was very apparent because they were very, very sexist towards me. And I had a woman tell me, she booked with me, and, you know, my name is Payton, so it is a unisex name. And so I think that she thought on the phone that I was a man. And she came in with her son. She was pissed. And she was like, well, are you a barber? And I remember telling, and this is when I grew my spine. This is the first day I grew a spine. I looked at her, I said, it says Grand Ledge Barbershop. And she's like, well, I just want to make sure because I'm a hairstylist. Okay, then you should know. Then you should fucking respect me. And I told her, I was like, yep, my license is right here. And she's like, okay, well, I just wanted to make sure, because I wanted my son to have a real barbershop experience, if you know what I mean. And I said, I don't know what you mean, because I'm a barber, and this is a barbershop. That's a barbershop experience, in my fucking opinion.
Right.
Like, it was, and it's just, like, hearing a woman say that to me, and someone who's in the same field.
Yeah.
It was just crazy, and it just really opened my eyes that some people are just so out of touch with reality. But, I mean, that was just one experience of many at that
you've
shop.
already had.
I mean, a man came in one time and said, oh, you guys got a receptionist? and pointed at me. Yeah, I mean,
Holy
dude,
shit.
it's just crazy. And
Yeah.
I still, now owning my own place, I still hear this shit all the time. But like, I hate to say that I'm used to it because it sucks to be used to it. No one should be used to hearing that kind of stuff.
Right.
But also too, like, it just gave me some thick fucking skin and just helped me so much more, not only in my career, but in my personal life.
Sure.
Of just not letting little stuff affect me. Like, people are stupid. People are going to say whatever they're going to say. Like, and my life goes on. The world keeps spinning.
How do you handle those situations when they come up? I mean, I know it comes with experience, but like...
It's really situational. It really depends on what the situation is. I will say a lot of the times, 90% of the time, it's just smile and nod. You know, they're putting money in my pocket and then they're going to leave and then I may see them again and I might not, but you know what? At least I got fucking paid. Yeah. Like, if you're going to be a dick, at least be a dick and pay me. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And that's the thing too, especially growing up working in like the restaurant industry, you know, the customer's always right. Yeah. And it's a little different now being a shop owner because the customer doesn't always have to be right. It's my shop, my rules. Yeah. You know? I have had people where I'm like, you know, I don't think that we should keep seeing each other, like, you know, technically like firing clients. Like, I just don't think I'm the right barber for you. Yeah. And sometimes men feel very comfortable talking shit about women in general to another woman. Yeah. And sometimes they think of me as one of them, and I hate that. Yeah. Like, no, I'm a girl's girl first. Like, I still will always choose women over men, and just because we can be cool and kiki doesn't mean you can be disrespectful to me and like my people. Right, like, right. Absolutely not. Yeah. And so it's just sometimes men like will say something, it's almost like they're testing the waters of what they can say. And so a lot of it is boundary setting too. Like, I've gotten good at that with my clients is, you know, a lot of times I'm the one steering the conversation and leading what we're speaking about. And I do it purposefully and carefully because it's like, you need to know what my limits are before you get a little too comfortable saying whatever to me. Yeah. Because I do think, again, like I've said, you are that person who can be very comfortable and allow people to kind of speak their truth. But at what point does it become, okay, now you're being disrespectful? Exactly. I know that I'm in a field that is male dominated. My clients are male dominated. Yeah. Like, when do I step in and be like, actually, no, we're not going to go there. We're not going to do that. You're not going to disrespect my craft. Yeah, absolutely. And what I've done. Yeah. You know, just because I don't have something hanging between my legs. Yeah. Doesn't mean that I don't have the expertise and, you know, the right things to be able to fucking perform my job well. Yeah. And it sucks too, being a woman in a male field. Like, one thing I think was the reason why some people were so rude to me at Grand Ledge was because I was too nice. And I am a very nice person. I am a people pleaser. Yeah. And now having my own shop, I learn when someone comes in, I'm not like, hey! It's, hey, how's it going? Yeah. Like, I'm asserting dominance. I'm letting you know that I'm not that friendly. Yeah. I will be a bitch to you first before I'm going to be your best friend. Yeah. So don't play with me. Yeah. Yeah. And just because I'm a woman in here alone, no, I'll still square up with you. Like, we need to know that I'm not just all giggles and girly talk over here. Like, there is a dominance that I try to assert now when people come into the shop. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Can you maybe talk about how you've been able to, like, stay yourself? Yeah. And, like, have you always felt like, you know, you can be yourself? I know you kind of talked about it a little bit with, like, you know, growing up and stuff. Yeah. Growing up, I experienced, like, bullying in a really weird way. Like, and it was always my friends that were doing it to me, too. You know? And just, like, making nasty jokes. And and then in high school volleyball and college volleyball, both of my coaches had yelled at me and then pulled me aside and said, sorry, I'm yelling at you because you're the only one who can take it. And a lot of the times, and that's how people still treat me today. Like, you know, it does get old sometimes. Like, it is a wound and an insecurity I have. But, like, who gives a fuck? Like, I'm just so into the mantra of who gives a fuck. And it sucks being, like, the punching bag sometimes for people.
Yeah.
But I feel like that also helps me just feel so much more confident because I realize how insecure other people are.
Yeah.
You're so insecure that you have to try to take a shot at me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it reflected. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just fine and you're still insecure.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And as flattering as it is and always has been that people have said, like, you know, you inspire me to be myself and, you know, unapologetically weird. Sometimes it makes me feel like, am I being too much myself? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like people notice it so much that it makes me feel like I am weird. Like, and I love being weird. I take pride in the fact that I'm weird.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I feel like really in my teenage years, people always say like, oh my gosh, you're so weird in yourself. Like, that's awesome. And it's like, okay.
That's awesome for you. Slay.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, thanks. Like, is that a compliment or is it a fucking diss?
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to navigate how I felt about that. But I just learned, like, I would rather be weird in myself, and because if I'm not wearing a mask, whoever and what is meant to find me will find me.
Yeah.
But if I do it my life wearing a mask, what is meant to find me will because it doesn't know what I look like.
And it's just, that's so true. Oh my God. Can you say that one more time? Just say it one more time. Because I think that's so fucking true.
If you wear a mask, the people and things will never find you because they don't know what you really look like.
Fact. I mean, that's a fact.
And that's, and so it sometimes being myself bites me in the butt. People don't like that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But at least I know it's all still gonna come to me.
Well, and that's something I've had to get better at understanding, because I was somebody for a very long time who wore that mask.
Yeah.
You know, I was...
And it's hard not to. You
oh my God, it's so hard.
Fit in and be one with the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there was just so much... I felt so much pressure to, like, be a certain type of way, and just so that I would have friends. Just so that people would like me.
Yeah.
And I was always that person who, like, just wanted people to like me.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was validating.
Yes, it is validating, and it's a validation problem that I'm trying to work through.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, I feel like as I've gotten older and as I've started to kind of peel, you know, pieces of this mask off, it's exactly right what you said. Like, I have been able to meet people in my life who are meant to be in my life.
They actually fit with you, not the mask.
Yes, not the mask that I was presenting to the rest of the world. And when I have been able to do that, I realize how grateful I am for those people who have come my way, because I stayed myself and because I was who I was.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I lost some people along the way who didn't fit this new uncovering of my mask, and that was hard. It was hard to deal with. Yeah,
because you're shedding a new skin, but when you shed that skin, you don't realize all the other shit that's shedding with it.
Yes,
and that's how it felt leaving Kalamazoo too, and leaving that skin. It was like, wow, you all were so attached to that version, but not this version of myself.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, and it's okay that those people aren't going with you to the next chapter.
It's fine.
But it's so hard to accept that when you're going through it, because, like you said, this is all you've ever known.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, how do I release what's not meant for me in order for the people, places, things to come in that is for me?
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother battle that you have to defend in yourself or find in yourself. So
absolutely. And that's why it's so hard to make friends too, like in those earlier years of your life, because you're just figuring yourself out.
Yeah,
everyone
you have no idea.
So we're all just like a kaleidoscope of every possible version of ourselves.
And we, you know, we look at what other people are doing and we're like, oh, let's just do that because that's what other people are doing.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lack of, I think, thinking for ourselves in this society.
Yes.
Especially because we are exposed to social media and everything that we see. So we take on what's popular or what looks good. And then we want to try to implement that into what we look like. And there's I don't know, there's a less sense of identity of people, I think, nowadays, too, especially. But I don't know, maybe not. Because I do think that social media has also kind of allowed people to be more independently themselves. It's like a fine line.
There is,
you know?
But there is a lot of conforming.
Yes.
Okay, these like poses are trending. So when I take pictures of myself, I have to do the, you know what I mean? Like and I know a lot of people feel the pressure of having their like Instagram feed be a certain aesthetic, right? But that's an example of conforming. Like you feel like you have to match these guidelines and you don't. And like, don't get me wrong, every now and again I dive into maybe like a trend or something and I'm like, pause. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Do I actually like this or is it just being fed to me?
Right. Right.
And I think that's a part of finding your own confidence too is who are you? What do you like?
Yes, without all that noise attached to it. And that's kind of where I'm getting at. Like I have a love-hate relationship with social media because it is a place where I feel like I can be creative and I can put myself out there and like do all these things, but at the same time, like when I spend so much time consuming it, I feel like I do kind of feed into that. Like,
it's hard not to.
Yeah. Like I'm like, oh, well, this creator is doing this. Like I should try it this way. Instead of just trusting my own like creative intuitiveness, you know? And that's really, really hard, I think, to like navigate. So
and, I see people on like TikTok, like small creators being like, you know, I've been posting every day on TikTok for a month. This is what I've learned and what to do, what not to do. But it's like, why does that have to be the same guideline for everyone else to follow? Like, just fucking post your shit. Just do it. Just put it out there.
And
you don't need to follow a guideline of I gotta post a story and then I gotta post a video and then I need to do this. If you like it,
post it. Yeah. Or do it. Yeah, exactly. And I think I have so much more respect. I think it's interesting because I'm starting to find that a lot of people like who I've followed or have known in my past have started to do some of these things and put themselves out there. And
it's fun to see.
It's admirable. And I really have a lot of respect for people who, you know, are taking that risk to put themselves out there in that way because a lot of people aren't doing that.
No.
And so, like, even that's what I have to try to remind myself. Like, okay, I just got 3 likes on my last episode release.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares?
Who cares?
Like,
3's better than 0.
Exactly. But it's not even about the likes or interaction at that point. It's the fact that I am putting myself out there and I'm being scared doing it.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you think I like fucking posting that shit? Not really.
It's scary. Like,
it's fucking scary.
It's like, oh my god, who's gonna send this to who?
I know.
What are they gonna say? But then it's like,
who cares?
Actually, how does it affect me?
No, and
like,
it doesn't.
When I first started Twitch streaming, like, to get people to, you know, even find your channel, like, you have to post clips of, like, your stream, right? And doing that at first, it was so embarrassing. Like, I'm being so vulnerable.
Being
like,
so cringe.
Yeah, but then it's like, God, you know what? Who cares? Because someone out there is going to be like, "Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
I'll take a look."
Yeah,
you know, and that's all that matters. And I still battle with that a lot. Like the amount of times where I'd post a video and then delete it like 5 hours later because I watched it like 100 times and I'm like, stupid, loser. And then I delete it and then Dylan's like, "Why the fuck did you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, because of this, this, and this." And he's like, "Payton, you're the only person who's seeing it that way."
Yeah.
And even too, sometimes when I take a picture of a really good haircut I did, and then I look at it and I go to post it, and then I see the tiniest flaw, and I'm like, can't post that now.
Yep.
But then to anybody else, they don't see
it. Yeah.
And it's just, God, we're our worst critics.
Oh,
we're
terrible.
our hardest critics. It's
terrible.
just, and I think you have to get to a point of acceptance. And you know what? If the shit that I say and think to myself, no one will ever think anything as bad as I think.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
Yeah.
So like, imagining people talking shit about me. Okay, you know what? Because they're not saying anything as bad as I say into the mirror. So then it won't hurt me.
Yeah.
Like if I hurt myself first, then no one can do it back to me.
Yeah.
And that's just like how I live. Like I don't know. Like I'm my biggest bully. So
I know.
Try me.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean that's kind of I think that's the mind frame we just have to start like living by.
Yeah.
And I think we are doing better. I mean, I am doing better at it. But anyway, so I feel like we talked about a lot today. We're like
that was so fun.
50 minutes in, but is there anything else that you want to like explore or talk about or anything else you want to say?
I don't know. What do I say?
Maybe you can ask me. We can flip the
let's
interview
flip the
me
script
some
here.
Yeah.
What? Okay. Out of, you know, doing the podcast journey that you have been on.
Yeah.
What is something that has maybe changed? Something that you thought before you started doing it that is now different?
Ooh, Okay. Let me think about this for a second. I think I didn't realize how healing this journey was going to be for me.
It's therapeutic.
It is. Yeah. Like, originally this just started as an idea because I was eager to create something.
Yeah.
And in doing that, it has allowed me to really discover myself in a way that I didn't think I was going to be able to. I don't know. It's been therapeutic in that I am talking about my experiences in real time and I'm releasing it.
Yeah.
And that is really powerful for me because it's almost like journaling in a way.
Literally.
But it's more impactful than that because I'm being able to, stay grounded by talking about what I'm going through, even if it is just me, myself in the mic.
Yeah.
Because I'm able to reflect and ground myself during that process. The process that I have been taking with this is like, this is the problem I'm dealing with it. Let me ground myself and see how I can work through this, but also offer advice. So yeah, that's something that I didn't really feel like was going to happen. It started as
that's awesome
creative idea. And then
there's so much power in the tongue, right? Like journaling is one thing, but like being able to actually speak it is different.
And it's allowed me to be more comfortable in myself too, because I am working through it out loud.
Yes.
And not just on a page.
And then you get to understand it more too.
Yes. And then like releasing it and listening to it back. And, I was going through this morning and I was kind of like listening to my very first episode. Yeah. And I know it was only like last year, but I could tell how afraid I was in that first episode.
Really sweet, though.
Because I was just like, kind of stumbling over my words. I could hear myself kind of being out of breath, talking about these things. And now I feel like I have more of a steady voice and it's more confident. It's like, I just feel like I'm growing as I'm, so it's cool. And so if anything, I'm at least growing myself. What I mean?
That's all that matters. Yeah. It's truly all that matters.
I do hope that one day it reaches the audience that it's supposed to. And I do think it will, but it's just, right now, it's therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
So.
And I think it's good for, at least, right now and however much longer, for it to remain therapy and not like so jobby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like there's just such a pressure too with creators of any type of creators. There's such an expectation that, like, if you post something and it doesn't go viral, then it's bad, right? Because it's so easy to go viral nowadays.
Oh my God, yeah. And it's such a long game, too, because the other thing I was thinking about is, like, a lot of these content creators, like, if you look at the people who are wildly successful, a lot of it is because they have a niche.
Yes.
And something that they have gotten viral off of because they've done the same thing consecutively for however long. And while that is really great, then it's hard to go out of your lane. It's
when you do change, then your followers don't really want that anymore.
Exactly.
They don't want that. There's so many creators that I follow who then got the fame and the followers, and then you see their content shift, and then they lose all of that.
Yes.
But it's like, you know what? At least they did something that was rewarding for them, and not for the narrative of their followers.
Exactly. And that's something that I don't ever want. I don't ever want to be placed in a box because I am who I am. And so, like, that's also my goal with this, too, is, like, I don't want to just go viral off of something that's, like, trending and then that becomes my thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that. I want my thing to be vulnerability, realness, rawness, having conversations with people.
Yeah.
And bringing that vulnerability out of people. I think that's really important for people to see that it still fucking exists.
Yeah.
Because we live in a world full of filters. We live in a world full of fakeness and people following the trend. And I don't want that.
No.
I don't want that. So.
Now, what would you, August is a year for you, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's coming up.
It's coming up. I know.
What is something that you hope your listeners took from your podcast this year, and what is something you hope they can take from it next year?
Oh, I would say like this year, I hope that my followers take away, don't be afraid, I guess. Don't put yourself in a box.
Yeah.
Be who you are. And also, it's okay to feel like you don't have things all figured out.
Yeah.
Take risks, do things that are uncomfortable because you never know where it's going to lead you. Like I said with this process, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's just doing it. And that's sometimes all it takes is just doing it.
And it is hard to keep up with, but I do it because I know that, again, like I said, it's therapeutic and I'm enjoying it. Next year, I really want to call in the people that I'm supposed to meet and the stories that I'm supposed to hear and get out to the world, because my biggest thing is that I never want to bring on somebody to the show and, I don't want to ever exploit them or exploit their story in a way that makes it seem like I'm benefiting off of their vulnerability.
Like, you got trauma? Come and tell me.
Right. Like, I don't ever want that to be what this becomes. I just want it to be a place where people feel comfortable sharing their story and feel like they're not going to just be exploited for,
like, it's just a chance to sit down and be honest.
Yes, just a chance to sit down and be honest, and for the rest of the world to be honest with us and sit in that space and be like, oh shit, like, I am okay to just be who I am because they're able to do it, or she's able to, he's able, you see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know.
I love that.
And that's my hope, so.
That's great.
Any other questions?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, that was good.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun. Well, thank you for being here today. And
thanks for listening and having me.
Yeah,
it was fun.
I hope we could probably do this again. I was very nervous. Okay, bringing my first friend on here.
Palms are sweaty.
Literally, I literally can fucking smell myself. I stink as fuck. I'm like sweating. I'm like nervous, and I don't even know why. I think it's just I haven't had somebody on my podcast in a very long time.
Well, it's different. Like, you're not just talking to yourself.
No, we got to include people into the conversation. Yeah. So that's something I feel like I'm gonna have to learn how to do a little bit better.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the goal
too
for next year, is trying to include the mic in with other people.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. Share the hot seat.
Yeah, so anyway, thank you for being a part of this experience.
Thank you for having me.
Tune in next week, guys.
Yeah, tune in next week, or else I'm going to find you and I'm going to fucking kill you.
All right, for safety reasons, she's not. But anyway.
For safety reasons, I have your IP address.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
Catch you on the flip.
Bye.